Over the past few years, KFC, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, has been trying to turn the Colonel into a pop icon, and in the weirdest way. They've used ads, YouTube videos, and even a dating sim. But to see the present, we must see the past. The origin of KFC comes from 1930, during the worst of the Great Depression. In that year, Harlan David Sanders was able to secure a service station in the small town of North Corbin, Kentucky. He got this location rent-free from Shell Oil Company, who gave it to him rent-free as long as he paid a percent of the revenue to them. He began serving many dishes, such as country hams, steaks, and chicken. In 1935, he was commissioned as a Kentucky Colonel. This title is the highest title of the Commonwealth of Kentucky given to members of the Commonwealth of Kentucky for outstanding services to citizens of Kentucky. In 1939, he acquired a motel in Asheville, North Carolina, and left his service station, but later that year it burned down. He converted it to a motel and a 140-seat restaurant after the fire. This was his first restaurant, though KFC was not a thing yet. By summer of 1940, Sanders had perfected his secret recipe for frying chicken in the pressure fryer, still used today. During World War II, times were tough, and gas was rationed and tourism crashed, forcing Sanders to close his Asheville motel. He ran government kitchens in Tennessee until he had an idea. In 1952, Sanders first franchised his secret recipe chicken to Pete Harmon of South Salt Lake City, Utah. Harmon owned and operated one of the biggest restaurants in Salt Lake City at the time. The local sign painter, Don Anderson, hired by Harmon, coined the term Kentucky Fried Chicken, or KFC. The dish was popular, as it was rare and represented Southern hospitality. This led to a massive increase in Harmon's sales. This turned eyes, and many restaurants began franchising Sanders' recipe for 4 cents a chicken. In 1959, he opened his new headquarters in Shelbyville. He often slept in his car, as he traveled all over offering to cook his chicken at restaurants for the chefs to try. He got a patent for his chicken cooking method in 1962 and trademarked his phrase, "It's finger looking good," in 1963. KFC was one of the first fast food chains to open internationally, as they opened franchises in England, Canada, and Jamaica, all before the mid-1960s. The rapid growth of KFC was overwhelming for Sanders. In 1964, he had over 600 restaurants and could no longer take the struggle. He sold the company for $2 million US, that is $16.5 million US today. This deal did not include the Canadian rights, as Sanders continued to run the Canadian branch of the company until his death. He continued to be the paid spokesman of KFC and collect his royalties. As KFC began cutting costs, Sanders became extremely vocal of his hatred for the cheap products. For example, he called the gravy sludge and pure wallpaper taste, and said, "The crispy recipe is nothing in the world but a damn fried dough ball stuck on some chicken." This landed him in hot water with KFC's parent company, Heblen, and it was not helped by him opening a restaurant called Claudia Sanders, the Colonel's Lady, named after his wife, where he served his original chicken. He reached an agreement with Heblen, naming the restaurant Claudia Sanders Dinner House. This restaurant is still around and is the only non-KFC restaurant authorized to serve Sanders chicken. After he was recommissioned as a Kentucky Colonel in 1950, Sanders began dressing the part and calling himself Colonel. At first, everyone followed along jokingly, but eventually earnestly. He never went out in public not in character after that point. He was so invested in the character that he bleached his goatee and mustache to match his white hair. Sanders died in 1980. This left the company scrambling for a way to still represent the Colonel figure, as it was ingrained in the KFC culture. Originally, he was represented by impressionists over the radio. Between 1998 and 2001, they did an animated version of him. In Thailand during the 90s, they started using a young animated chicken named Chicky, and this mascot spread to other regions, mainly in Asia and South America. As the years passed, they used all different people, from comedians to lookalikes, to advertise the brand. In 2016, the company decided to take a new method of advertising. In 2016, KFC decided to make the Colonel a pop symbol. They began work on some big projects, but started releasing small stuff first. Some weird football ads were first. Then they had wrestling stuff, but other plans were brewing. Then in 2019, exploded. They released this ad for Mother's Day, which I will play in an abridged version now.
Oh, howdy, Mom. I hear you're the best mom in the world. Well, what do you think, Forrest?
Yes, that is a Jack Sanders stripping. This is one of those things that makes you question the qualifications of these advertisement teams. But it gets worse. Later that year they released the one, the only, I Love You Colonel Sanders, a finger-looking good dating simulator. An otame-style dating simulator centered around you as a chef and your coach, Colonel Sanders. It is just as weird as it looks. The gaming reviewers hated it, saying it was too short, only being about 30 minutes to an hour, and that it was a affront to the dating sim genre, which it really was just a satirical game, but whatever. But the judges were wrong on this one, as the Steam reviews are amazing. Of course, 99% of these positive reviews are actually just memes. As a surprise to no one, this plan somewhat flopped, though we don't know for sure if KFC is done trying to Popeye Sanders. With the whole pandemic thing, they may still be cooking up more plans, but if you get down to it, the ad campaign worked wonderfully. They wanted people to talk about KFC, and they sure did. I mean, I'm a game journalist, and I'm talking about it. Thanks for watching. I know this is a different editing style, so if you guys liked it, make sure to leave a comment saying you did. This is one of my most researched and edited videos yet, so please, if you could, subscribe. It means the world to me. I didn't really want to start the deep dive series on this, as I wanted to focus it on gaming communities, but this is just so weird and perfect, and it does somewhat relate to a game, so I think it's fine. Again, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for future content.